In a world that never stops buzzing, sometimes the loudest messages come from the quietest corners of our own selves. Hello, darling, and welcome to Self and the Frequency. I am your host, Magical Femme. Let's tune into the signals that shape who we are and who we aspire to be. And I couldn't help but wonder, why do we treat our bank accounts like a confession booth instead of a boudoir? Why is it that we can discuss shadow work, the alignment of the stars, and the curation of our homes with such fluid grace? But the moment the topic shifts to wealth, we clench, we become rigid, we move from the expansive frequency of the goddess to the frantic, math-obsessed frequency of the survivor. This week on Self and the Frequency, we stop apologizing for our appetite and start exploring financial erotics. Now, don't let the word erotics confuse you with the physical. I'm talking about vitality. I'm talking about the pulse, the heat, and the life force that moves through your currency. Because money, at its core, is just energy in transit, and how you relate to that energy is the ultimate reflection of how you relate to your own power. Most of us were raised on a financial diet culture. We were told to restrict, to save for a rainy day, as if the sun will never shine again, and to view money as a cold, hard utility tool. But a magical femme knows that money isn't cold, it's reactive. It responds to the environment you create for it. When you chase money, you are operating from a frequency of lack. You are telling the universe that wealth is something out there, running away from you. But when you court money, you change the physics of the relationship. You become the magnet. You create a space so beautiful, so sovereign, and so high frequency that wealth feels safe to land there. It's the difference between hunting a bird and planting a garden so exquisite the bird chooses to nest in your trees. So, how do we move from the clench to the flow? How do we curate the frequency of wealth? Well, here is your frequency challenge for this week. First, you'll have to treat your wallet like a sanctuary. Open your purse right now. Is it a graveyard of old receipts and crumbled gum wrappers? If you were wealth, would you want to sit in that chair? Cleanse your wallet. Organize your cards. Treat your physical touch points with money as an act of adornment. When you pay for something, do it with an open palm, not a tight fist. Next, stop using the word spending. Spending sounds like a depletion. Start using the word circulating. When you pay your rent or buy that espresso, say to yourself, I am circulating this vitality back into the world, knowing it returns to me tenfold. You are part of the tide, and the tide always comes back in. And finally, sit with your numbers once a week, not to judge them, but to witness them. Light a candle, play your favorite record, and look at your accounts. Treat it as your financial date night. By giving your money your focused, loving attention, you stop the cycle of avoidance. You can't lead what you're afraid to look at. And now, let's take a moment for our signature frequency check-in. Close your eyes if you're in a safe place to do so. and drop your shoulders away from your ears. Unclench your jaw. Now take a deep breath in, and I want you to visualize a golden thread connecting your heart to your resources. Feel the clench in your solar plexus, that old fear that there isn't enough or that you aren't enough to hold it. On your next exhale, release that tension. Imagine that golden thread turning into a wide, shimmering river. Ask yourself, am I holding my breath when it comes to my worth? Breathe in the frequency of sovereignty. Breathe out the frequency of surrender. You are not a servant of your finances. You are the architect of your abundance. If you want a life that feels like silk, you must stop handling your wealth like it's sandpaper. So as you move through your week, notice where you are clenching and where you can afford to soften. Treat every transaction like a flirtation and every investment like a vow to your future self. Because the world doesn't respond to your need, it responds to your radiance. Walk with the posture of someone who already is provided for. Because, my darling, you are the most valuable asset you will ever own. Keep your frequency high, your heart open, and your boundaries elegant. That's all for this week's journey on Self and the Frequency. I am your host, Magical Femme. Subscribe or follow wherever you get your podcasts so you don't miss out on future conversations. And let's connect on Instagram at Self and the Frequency. Until next time, keep tuning into yourself and amplifying your beautiful frequency.